Hey guys, it's Delora Dabbles, and I am out in the backyard enjoying the fine, hot weather we have here at the end of December. So, there's not a lot of metaphysical stores here in Mobile, but I will be doing a review of shops here. But right now, this video is a review of shops in Pensacola. I basically just hit the major shops. I'm going to be making another trip out to Pensacola in the next month to do more of the obscure ones. But Pensacola is about an hour and 15 minutes away. So, and I'll just tell you guys this. I never get exhausted or fatigued driving the stretch of I-10 from Mobile to Houston. But whenever I drive from Mobile to Pensacola, that stretch of I-10 is exhausting for some reason, even though it's only an hour as compared to 8 the other way. You know, I never get exhausted going west on I-10. Going east on I-10, I always get super exhausted. So I really only went to 3 stores, but there's one store that I go to quite often that I just didn't go to this time because it kind of ran out of time, kind of ran out of energy a little bit. First and foremost, I want to talk about my favorite shop there, which is Live and Let Live Spiritual and Metaphysical Store. They are like a little shack, and whenever you go in, it's cluttered, but it's clean cluttered, and it's really like there's a lot to look at. There's a lot to go through, and I feel like it really like engages my primal foraging nature as a human to be like, ooh, forage, oh, what's that? And they have a lot of like, they don't have like 10 of the same thing unless you're talking candles, Florida water, herbs, and incenses. They have like the little altars. They've got a lot of stuff from New Age imports. So if you like that, if you like their stuff, then you would really like to go in there because they have stuff from New Age imports that most other people don't bother carrying, such as the little wooden altars with the pentacles or the Celtic crosses or all of those things on them. They have like a good variety of different like things like that, the pedestals, the incense burners, the little boxes, the little tarot boxes, just everything. They've got little drums, they've got the little flutes, they've got a lot of tools and instruments in there. They sell rune stones. There's actually a set of lapis lazuli rune stones in there that I really like because they're smaller. My bloodstone rune stones are quite large, and so I was like, oh, maybe I should get them. I was like, you already have a set, stop, right? Like, I tend to overbuy. I have a problem with that. But what I did get there is, you guys have seen the Gypsy Witch decks, right? The orange Halloween looking decks. They look kind of like Lenormand but different. They actually had the little book that came out. Someone wrote a little book on how to use them, so I did buy that. And today they actually had readers there. They have readers there a lot of the time, and they have classes too. That is the biggest selling point of the first 2 shops I'm going to talk about. Live and Let Live has classes. January 14th, they're actually having a past life regression class with Mark. But if you call them, so like if you Google Maps, Live and Let Live Spiritual and Metaphysical Store, just type in Live and Let Live, and it'll pop up. And you just call them and ask them what classes they're offering, and they'll tell you over the phone if you don't want to make the drive from wherever you are just to find out. And then you can determine based on the class whether or not you want to show up. But Mark is teaching the past life regressions class. He's also doing an Akashic record class in February that I'm interested in, but there's not a solid date on that. It's just sometime in February. Mark did the reading for me today, and it was a good reading. I've only gotten readings from a handful of readers in my time, and every time I get a reading from someone else, it's crap, except for Papa Merlin of Montrose in Houston and this guy Mark. You can really tell whenever someone's got a good groove, right? And there is somebody who watches my channel who's a Christian witch that I'm interested in getting a reading from because he doesn't use tarot decks, and maybe I will get a reading from him and tell you guys how that goes, because I've heard from some friends recently that what he does is very interesting and very different, so it would be really cool. I need to link his channel below because he also has a YouTube channel. But anyway, I digress. They have readers, they have jewelry, they have crystals, they have a lot of the obelisks. And what I like is that their obelisks have a little bit of hot glue on the top. I don't know who does that, but a lot of times in Pensacola at these metaphysical shops, if something has a pointy tip, they will smear a little bit of hot glue on top to keep that point from chipping, either in shipment, on the shelf, if someone picks it up and drops it. I don't know, but I've not seen that anywhere else. But in Pensacola, the obelisks and pointy bits have hot glue smeared on them. And I like that. It's cute. It's quaint. It's something that I've only seen in Pensacola. So moving on, we have the Celtic Cauldron, which is so funny because, of course, I was drawn to it because my favorite metaphysical store in Houston is the Magic Cauldron. And so this place is called the Celtic Cauldron. And true to its name, it is very Celtic based. There's a lot of Wicca stuff, and the owner and proprietors are Wiccan. There is actually a Wiccan church in Pensacola. Whenever I first went in there last year, they invited me to their Beltane ritual, but it was May 1st, which is my nephew's birthday, and the only reason why I was in town was for his birthday. So I wasn't going to spend his birthday doing a Beltane ritual. At least I'm pretty sure it was Beltane. I'm not that familiar with the Wheel of the Year. But yeah, they meet up for the Sabbats, but they don't have like a weekly church as far as I know. But there's a very big spiritual presence in Pensacola, hence all the metaphysical stores. Other than that, the Celtic Cauldron also has a Herbalist Tea Shop, and the woman there, like, if you tell her, like, okay, like, blah, 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 and she'll whip you up a tea, right? Whatever it is you're going through, whatever it is you're trying to do, or whatever, and, like, you can just sit there and sip it. It's like, oh, man, I'm really stressed out, you know, but there's some other stuff going on, blah, blah, blah. Perfect tea, the perfect tea. And they all taste great because they're not just herbalist teas, and there's nothing obviously dangerous in them, right? She's very good and very careful about what she does, and I have heard her ask questions like, oh, are you diabetic? And they're like, no. She goes, okay, then this tea would be good. So she really knows what she's doing. I heard her say that whenever I visited the first time last year, and I was like, huh, very interesting, because herbalist people can sometimes be a little overbearing. I had someone keep pushing, like someone that I was acquainted with in Houston, keep trying to push ashwagandha down my throat, and I was like, no, I have a thyroid disorder. Ashwagandha would not work for me. You know what other kind of Ayurvedic herb would work if you can't use ashwagandha because of your thyroid problems? Holy basil. Yes. Anyway, I had to learn that myself by talking to a real herbalist about this subject. So she is a real herbalist, and I love it. She has a lot of singing bowls. There are some books I've noticed, because from the time that I visited last year to the time that I've been visiting the last couple months, she has expanded her books. So there are more books there, which I love. And the books are, of course, on Celtic, Wicca, Norse paganism. There's a couple on Norse paganism, not a lot, but there's a couple on runes and things like that. So a very, very good shop, and she's got some nice jewelry as well, and she teaches classes. Now, what I like about the Celtic Cauldron is that you can literally find them, Celtic Cauldron Pensacola, go to their website. They have an event. They have a website with a calendar, so you can always see what's going on without necessarily having to call them on the phone. So those are my two favorites. So we're going to blow through the next one. There is a place called Magical Journeys and Fantasy Gifts. I didn't go there because it's actually located inside of a flea market that I didn't go into. I wasn't feeling flea market-y, but I am curious about them, and you will see them next time. Hope Spirit Jewels. This one is in a very small little shopping center, and it was a little bit farther away from Pensacola proper, but it was well worth the drive because it's a rock shop with amazing pieces, beautifully carved pieces, all kinds of different rocks. She has wire wrapped jewelry that she wire wraps herself. The owner and her husband own it, like her and her husband own it, and she is amazing at what she does. She is from what I could tell, she's not super duper love and light and down your throat with love and light shit, right? So this is the kind of rock shop you could go into and have a very occult, esoteric conversation with the people there, right? And you can talk about even just the geological aspect of the rocks, right? She's not just interested in the spiritual side of the rocks. She has a good idea of like the actual stones as well. And what else? She's been trying to get in more books, but there's not a lot of books. But her jewelry is really nice, and I'm not wearing the ring I got. Nah. She has stainless steel pieces as well. So there's something there for every budget. There's something there for every budget, right? So her wire wrapped pieces can range from not very expensive to very expensive, depending on how intricate it is. And then she has the stainless steel rings as well as, you know, nicer pieces. Very beautiful, not too love and light, because a lot of times you go into crystal shops and rock shops and they're either purely geological or like for tourists and stuff and fossils, or they are purely love and light with no grounding in reality. And this shop really walked the line of being not too love and light, right? The other one is the Bead and Crystal House. I haven't been to that one in a couple of years. It's been a couple of years, but they also have fossils, just like Hope Spirit Jewels. They have some jewelry. They have some very beautiful pieces, and you know, again, you know, some of the cheaper incenses that we see at all the metaphysical shops. They have. It's actually where I got my ammonite fossil, because they gave it to me for $20 because it was cracked. It was like broken in half, cracked. It was an ammonite fossil that was partially pyrite-atized. It partially turned into pyrite, but partially was still a fossil. And so that was really cool to me. But because it was broken, they just gave it to me for $20. And I still have that ammonite fossil. It is still one of my favorites. And I keep it in a box full of rice to soak up any moisture out of the air, because it is very humid here in the south, and it's probably why it broke in the first place. They told me to have it hermetically sealed behind in a glass box, so they do know how to care for things too. But the Bead and Crystal House is definitely more of a geological tourist place. They did have some angel cards, angel oracle cards and stuff, and they were kind of like, they were hesitant to talk spirituality because they didn't know where I was coming from right away. And until they figured out that I was a practitioner, they didn't want to talk to me about it. And there was a place about a year before that, so about 3 or so years ago, a metaphysical store was burned down. And that was also around the same time that in Houston, the, oh my God, what was it called? Oh my God, they burned that place down. What was it called? Oh my God. That's going to bother me now. But they had like all the taxidermy stuff. The Wild Collection. They burned the Wild Collection down too. So they're here in the South. Sometimes it's dangerous to be a little bit too spiritual. So the Bead and Crystal House is a little bit more reserved in their spiritual woo-woo that they have in the store, but Hope Spirit Jewels is absolutely not. Right? They will throw down on you some really good stuff. But like I said, my two favorite are Live and Let Live and the Celtic Cauldron. And I think the Celtic Cauldron will have readers in there sometimes. They definitely host a lot of events. So check out their calendar online. And if you don't live in Pensacola, but if you ever plan to visit Pensacola, hopefully this video helped you too. And again, I will be probably going to New Orleans at some point as well. I gotta get my booster before I go. Woo! So we will be doing that at some point. But yeah, I want to tour metaphysical shops along the Gulf Coast just to see what's up, what's going on in the world. And I feel like that's not something that a lot of people here have done. I like to review books, but my biggest resource and what I have found living here in Mobile is that my biggest resource in my magical practice was my metaphysical shop in Houston, the Magic Cauldron, and not having that has been meh. So I want to talk about different metaphysical stores so that people kind of know what to expect from metaphysical stores, but they also find out like, oh, okay, like this place has more books, this place has more classes, this place has more rocks, this place has more Wicca stuff, this place is more voodoo hoodoo, you know. That way you have a working idea of where you can go to make your metaphysical shop your resource, the nearest metaphysical shop to you, your resource, because metaphysical shops are a resource that we should be supporting as much as we can. So I hope this helped. Until next time. Oh wait, if you like these metaphysical shop reviews, please hit like on this video and I will make sure that I do more of them. And until next time, happy dabbling and bye-bye.